And welcome back to the channel, everyone, and welcome to our first installment of Silmarillion Total War. Today I will be showing a replay between myself, Bilbo T. Baggins, and Commander Legolas over there. I will be playing as the House of Fingolfin, and Legolas will be playing as the House of Feanor. So I will go ahead and get started, and then I'm going to fast forward here a little bit. Actually, no, hold on, let's do army comps real quick. So we'll start with Fingolfin. So I'm not too familiar with the Silmarillion meta quite yet. I'm getting there. So I tried to take a pretty well-rounded list for Fingolfin. As I understand things, Fingolfin is the House of Blade Masters, two-handed sword masters. They're also one of two factions in the mod at the moment that can take a pike unit. So I do value that pretty highly. I also just really like the aesthetic of Fingolfin. Oh shoot. Sorry about that. I hate Windows pop-ups. Come on now. Okay, as I was saying, I love the aesthetic of Fingolfin. I also really have come to like the Elves of the Phallus, the Philathrum, because of their whole spawn motif thing they share with Dol Amroth from Reforged and other Third Age mods. And also because they too have the only they're the only other faction that have a pike unit in the game, so I value that really highly. Other than that, I think Fingolfin have pretty good access to cheap spears. I don't think that's exclusive to them, but I do really like the Fyrdsmen of Dor-lómin, and in fact, we can't take a look at their stats in a replay, unfortunately. I'll have a look at them later, though. And, as we go through, I'll try to become more and more familiar with things, and I'll talk a bit more deeply about it. But I did take Marines of Inumar. I take them in every list of Fingolfin that I can, because they're armor-piercing javelins, and they have a decent anti-cav bonus. I love that about a unit. Once they're through their javelins, I think they become a sword and board unit, which is big, because other than them, the only real sword and board unit that Fingolfin have, I think they're called the Bladesmen of Barad-Eithel. But yeah, so I take two Marines of Inumar. I've taken 2 or 3, however many you can get before the red limit, the Sentries of Hithlum, the pikes. I've taken 2 Marksmen of Barad-Eithel. I do like to take archers, but I see these guys as kind of optional depending on the type of game we're going into. Because they're good archers, but Fingolfin is not really a ranged powerhouse. As the Silmarillion factions go. So, but one thing I would like to suggest to the, I don't know if anyone who is a developer of Silmarillion watches any of our videos, but if you do, one thing I'd like to suggest is that the Marksmen of Barad-Eithel become two-handed sword masters after they're through with their ammo. I've noticed that they use their sword one-handed, and without having a shield, and being that Fingolfin is the swordmaster faction, I think it'd be really fitting for that to be the case. So consider that. We've got more Fyrdsmen of Dor-lómin. I've taken a ton of them. The Sons of Hurin. Now these guys are maybe my favorite unit in some full stop at the moment. They are stupid powerful, and I think that's fine. I have no complaints with them being overpowered at all. because they're not invincible. They can take damage pretty quickly, but they are, as we'll see in some of these replays that I've got lined up, the Sons of Huron are an absolute blender when you throw them into melee. They can cut through hundreds of units and of unit models, excuse me, and it's really just a case of keep them from getting shot up too much, and they have a shield to help you in case you do start to get shot at a bit. They've got good armor, and of course, being a I can't remember what they're calling it, legendary company, I think. I don't know if this is their legendary company unit or not, but again, forgive me for my ignorance of the Silmarillion meta here. But it's really a case of just keep them from getting shot up too much, point them in the right direction, click delete. They're phenomenal. I praise them. I just can't praise them enough. They're really good. Fearsman Dorloman, we've already kind of talked about them. Cheap Spears, nothing really else to say about them. Blade Masters of Barad Ithel are my second favorite unit of Fingolfin, and these are the epitome of Fingolfin being the Swordmaster faction. They, I think, I'm not entirely sure of this, but I think, except for maybe the one unit of Blade Masters that Feanor have, might be the best Blade Masters that I've encountered so far. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. And when I say best Blade Masters, I don't mean overall, I mean of their tier. So, I'd have to look into like a Syrian and the name's escaping me at the moment. One of the other elf houses to check to see if truly they would be the undisputed champs. But and look at this. The attention to detail in their model is just astonishing. Like this gold trim here on the sword. I love it. But yeah, I took two of them, I believe. And then I took the Arentar, I think is how you pronounce it. Really good sword and board unit, and this is the second of the General's Bodyguard units that the House of Fingolfin have, which is sorely needed because you have Bladesmen of Barad Ithel, you have your Marines when they're out of ammo, they turn into sword and board sort of unit. But otherwise, Fingolfin are really so heavily focused on two-handed swords that they don't necessarily have anything that can hold the line and still deal out a little bit more damage than a spear. And I think that they contribute to that well. I think they also give out a pretty good morale buff, if I remember correctly. The Sons of Huron, I'm almost positive, do. And in fact, I think the Sons of Huron even... I want to say they frighten enemies as well. But, and look at the Golden Dragon. So this is... Turin had a helmet like this in the lore. I have read the Silmarillion and some of its other... some of the other shorter stories that have been extracted from the Silmarillion by Tolkien over the years. But yeah, I think that's the golden helmet that Turambar has. Really cool stuff. I really have to give props to the Silm developers for having done such a great job with this mod. I'm really looking forward to the dwarves coming out. That's really when I'll take a deep dive into this mod. But anyhow, we'll continue on, try to get up to speed, see where Legolas joins in, so we can take a look at his army. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit before we get the battle started because we were discussing how we wanted to set things up. We were on a Discord call with each other at this point, and we decided that we would start by... I didn't mean to pause that. I meant to slow it down. Just so I can explain this before it starts. We decided we would move up and have a... This would be kind of a staged fight, so there would be 2 stages, basically. A skirmishing stage, rather. And then, after that was done, the winning side... The side that appeared to be winning the skirmish would then attack. Because we had equal funds. He still wanted to treat this as a almost like a siege. So that's kind of how we decided to do things. If you can win the skirmish, then you can attack. Or so, then you have to attack rather, so that the battle's not hopefully too one-sided. That was the plan. So we'll go ahead and go back up to speed. Oh, come on now. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look at Legolas's army real quick. Actually, let's do this at 0.5 speed, why don't we? So, it's got Riders of the Past. These are a jav throwing... I can't remember if they're javs or if they're... Oh, no, they're horse archers. Okay. So, decent horse archers, good horse archers. Feanor are really well armored, and their focus is on mostly cavalry, though as I understand things, their infantry has improved significantly. We'll get to them in a minute, though. He's only taken, I think, just these 3 cavalry units, which was surprising to me. I don't know if Feanor actually have any more cav they can take, but if they do, I would have thought he would have taken more. He would have leaned more heavily into Feanor's strength. But in any case, he took 2 Riders of the Pass, some Hunters of Celegorm, which I think have. They're good lancers, but I think they have a ranged attack as well. Maybe not. No, actually they don't. They're just really powerful lancers. Some of the best cav in the game, in fact, I would say. Then we've got Stalkers of Thargelion, which are cheap javelins. Cheap as things go is probably... Cheap is a relative term, but... and I don't know if they have armor piercing or not. It didn't seem like it, because it didn't really look like they were getting a ton of kills in the game, if I remember correctly, but... anyway, cheap jabs are useful to have, and then they turn into, I think, a spear and board unit, so that'll be useful to have. Though if he leaned into it too heavily, I would say it's probably not going to be well worth it, given that you're trying to rely on units that will have a spear malice to deal with the Swordmaster faction. Probably not going to work out too great for you. But then he's got Shield Bearers of Helivorn. These guys are the more sturdy, dedicated spear and shield unit that Feanor have, and they're kind of, other than using cav yourself, they are your answer to enemy cavalry units. I didn't happen to take any cavalry, so he's not going to have to worry about that. But they will still be useful for holding his line. Got Archers of Amrod. They are, I would imagine, not too dissimilar to the Marksmen of Barad-Ithel, but I can't really speak to any specifics on their stats relative to my marksman units. They seem like they were pretty good archers, though. I think they actually... I don't think... See, I can't remember if they wield their sword when they're done, their ammo two-handed or not. I didn't think they did, but... more Shield Bearers of Helivorn. Footmen of Amras. These guys are really the bread and butter of your infantry corps as Feanor. And I think this unit, I would assume, given what I've heard, that the Footmen of Amras must have received some kind of buff lately, because I think there was an update. It's probably been a while now since it happened, but to improve Feanor's infantry quality, so I would expect it would have affected them disproportionately. More archers of Amrod, Footmen of Amras, and back here we have more Footmen of Amras. Okay. Now I thought there was a two-handed swordmaster unit. Maybe they're hiding. Defenders of Aglon. That was the unit I was looking for. And yes, indeed, they are a two-handed swordmaster unit. They are, I think, and again, the attention to detail I love. Like the engraving on this guy's sword here. Let's see if we can get closer. There we go. Fantastic work, modeling work. Good work good work to whoever in the Silm team came up with this model. But the Defenders of Aglon are actually kind of scary. I was not expecting them to be as powerful as they were. I don't know if they're a general's unit or not. I think he's got his general in his cavalry. No, sorry. He put his general in like a. He made a choice I wouldn't have made. I think he put it in, in the shield bearers unit, and I thought that was kind of bizarre. Maybe they're not in there. He put it in like a spear archer unit or something, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what their general looks like as Feanor. But anyway, we will go ahead and go back to normal speed as the skirmishing phase is about to begin. So I'm going to send forward my archers, my marksmen of Beardithel, and then behind them I'm going to send the Marines of Vinyamar, just in case he wants to try to... Oh, and also the Fierdsmen. I want them relatively close at hand in case if he wants to try to charge me down with his cav after they were out of their ammo. So, here come the marksmen and some Marines. And he's got his Riders of the Pass out front to begin his skirmishing phase.
We're under attack!
Now, interestingly enough, I would have expected him to have his Archers of Amrod. Oh, he is bringing a unit out there, okay. But he had 2 or 3 of them, I thought. If it were me, I would have just front-loaded everything with all my my archers, all my skirmishing units, because he had far more firepower that he brought to this game than I did. And as I explained at the beginning, whoever wins the skirmish phase then has to attack. And if he had really been able to tighten the screws on me here early on, to give him an early game advantage, I think that would have given him a pretty good opportunity to go on to win the game. Although saying that, I imagine he's expecting me to have brought as many spears and as many sentries as I did, and which of course is right. And I guess that would make for a tough fight to attack. So I can't really blame him. Here come the Marines of Vinyamar. I decided to move them up. I want to throw jabs into their cab. He's shooting me almost point blank with his Archers of Amrod, but the problem is that the Marines of Vinyamar have good ammo and a good shield, so Though the shield's not going to come into play because it's hitting on the right side. I'm turning them around now to hit his Hunters of Kelegorm as they come in. Let's see if he will then drop. That's a painful charge. Though I knew that I could make this more painful for him than he was expecting, given that the Marines have an anti-cav bonus, so I just let him charge. I wasn't that interested in getting them out. I knew he wasn't going to kill them all in one charge. And if he wants to throw everything into a single unit of Marines, I'm happy to let him. So anyway, they're probably, my poor Marines are probably a bit shell-shocked there, but they're going to move forward. Because he didn't pull them back very far. And he's not really using them at the moment. Currently, I am absolutely decimating his Riders of the Past with my other unit of Marines. And my Marksmen of Barad Eiffel are trading shots with the Huntsmen and the Archers of Amrod back there. Marines, I think, are out of ammo here. As I said, they turn into men-at-arms, basically, so I just decided to come screaming forward with my anti-cav bonus and pull down the last of these riders, because I don't want to have to deal with cavalry if I am going to attack. But it looks like that despite having superior firepower, Legolas is kind of conceding the skirmish phase to me, so... And I think that's kind of a double-edged sword, though, to be honest, because he didn't really take... Like, I get that he's wanting to try to force me to attack him with my all my spears and my phalanx units. You can just shoot me to death as I come forward. The problem is that I still have units that can rush forward, get into his face, and then make life miserable for him. This unit of Marines is going to get decimated. I lost micro with them because as I speak, I'm coming screaming forward with everything I've got, pretty much. We're going to pull in the sentries last, because I don't want them getting shot up if I can help it. But yeah, Feanor has lost the skirmish phase, and Fingolfin, the impetus is on them to attack. I say them, it's on me to attack. He's going to kind of set up a second line back here. Some Riders of the Past routing. Some Marines of Vinimar. They took a charge from the Hunters of Kelegorm earlier, so I guess they were able to see them off. But I still have another unit of Marines, and they did get most of their ammo off, so I'm not that worried about it. Boys are cheering back here for having defeated the Riders of the Past that they had come forward to, and that they had come forward to deal with. Marksmen of Barad Eiffel are trying to suppress the Archers of Amrod, and we're also trying. I think we may actually be shooting into the Hunters of Kelegorm as well. Yep, came screaming forward with the Fjordsmen to shut down these archers. Doesn't seem like he's interested in well, not actually, he is getting them out of there. Okay. I was going to say, it doesn't look like he's interested in having them stay in there and fire at will, and that is true, but he's going to pull them back. He needs to get his Hunters of Kelegorm out of there, though. See, and the thing is, he waited way too long, because now there's nothing but spears here, and they're gonna drag down the Hunters of Kelegorm. No problem. Marksman of Barad Eiffel, he did hit quite a few of them, and he almost wiped out the unit with that charge, so fair enough, but I don't know. I think he probably could have gotten more work out of them than he ended up doing, because now they're all dead. And I don't have to worry about Cav charging me in the back. So, but as I was saying earlier, I'm of two minds with this strategy of him conceding the skirmish phase and forcing me to attack. He doesn't really have very good composition for defending against a Fingolfin attack, to be honest with you. Nor does he really have a good composition to attack a Fingolfin position that's dug in really well. So, we'll have to see. Shield Bearers of Helivorn and against the Marines of Inimar, they're actually beating them. I expect that's because of the numbers discrepancy. Otherwise, I would expect the Marines to actually at least balance things out with them, if not tilt that fight in their favor ever so slightly. We've got Fjordsmen and against the Shield Bearers. Now, Shield Bearers of Helivorn are far superior to the Fjordsmen of Dorlonen. But I only needed them to stay alive, really, long enough for the Erimu Arantar. Pardon me if I butchered that pronunciation, but and the Blade Masters of Paradise are in there now, in the thick of things. So they'll take a long time to kill, but I feel pretty confident about being able to beat these Shield Bearers of Helivorn eventually. The more swords you get in against a spear unit, the quicker the spears will die. We missed something with the Sons of Hurin. And this is case in point of Sons of Hurin being incredibly powerful. I charged them in. He had his Stalkers of Thargelion throwing javelins at me, like full volleys, and did he drop any? One. He dropped one Son of Hurin and all that, with like 2 or 3 volleys. So that's why I'm not convinced that Stalkers of Thargelion are... I don't want to say they're not worth it, given that armored units are probably harder to come by, if I had to guess, in Silm than they are in Reforged. And well-armored and shielded units are probably even harder to come by. That being said, I can't imagine that... I guess that could be armor-piercing, and they just had rotten luck in trying to... I mean, because some of these are blooded up, so maybe they are AP, but I just had a hard time believing that they were at the time, given that they killed one with like 2 or 3 jav volleys, so... Anyhow, he's going to charge on his Footman of Amras. That will tie down the Sons of Hurin for a while, but even with that, I still expect the Sons of Hurin to mow their way through them. And if he eventually brings in these Footmen of Amras, which he probably needs to do sooner rather than later, come around and slam me in the back here, probably is what I would do if I were in his position. But even then, I would say it's a 50-50 shot as to whether, at best, let's see, that's what he's going to do now. Now, I see that, and I have this depleted unit of marksmen of Barad Ithil here, who aren't half bad in melee, and all I want to do with them, because they're totally out of ammo now, is I want to charge in here, and try to block the Footmen of Amras, and failing that, to charge them in the back. So it looks like I will get in between them. And so that's a fight that the Footmen of Amras should probably win, particularly with the numbers discrepancy. But all, again, I'm trying to do is just get in the way. Over here now, it looks like has his line stabilized, but again, he doesn't really have anything that can beat me in a protracted fight. I've got my Sentries of Hithelm in here now. They'll do pretty... yeah, they're just going to make it a matter of time before his line falls apart, really. And over on this side of things, yeah, the Shield Bearers of Helivorn completely buckled under the pressure that was applied to them. So really, the strategy was, I probably should have explained, hit them really hard on their flanks, and then use a lot of spears and a lot of my phalanx units to just pin them in place in the middle. And everything is going exactly to plan at the moment. See if you can turn that around, though. At the moment, we're way out ahead. Didn't realize it was that far out ahead. We're almost 20 points ahead at this point. So, my general's unit is going to slaughter these huntsmen of Thargelion, honestly. The defenders of Aglon are in here now, and they will do pretty well, actually, against the Blade Masters of Paradise. This is always a fight I've wanted to see, actually. True kinslaying here. And these two units are almost mirror opposites of each other. And yeah, it looks like the defenders of Aglon are actually liking that a lot. Though they do have a bit of a numbers advantage on me. I think they had, even going into that fight. It's not going to matter that much, though, because Footmen of Amras, where did they come from? Oh, they must have, yeah. Yeah, they must have been one of the units from over here. So the Sons of Hurin have mercilessly cut down all these footmen of House Feanor. That was Feanor's general, actually. So yeah, he was in with that unit of Huntsmen of Thargelion, which I thought was a bizarre choice. So my left flank has smashed through him. And pretty simple now. What you do is you just run everyone in behind and just roll up his flank, and then he's gone. So yeah. I do think that Commander Legolas could have won this battle, certainly, if he hadn't conceded the skirmish phase to me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would have done that, and I've already said my thoughts on that. Footmen of Amras here, yeah, now the Sons of Hurin are really showing their worth. They've absolutely chewed up and spit out 2 units of footmen and a unit of huntsmen. And then they're going to do some more after they're done there. And really this is a case of slowly being eaten alive by the combined efforts of a unit of Blade Masters and Sentries of Hithrin. We've got some... Oh no, that is purely Sentries, isn't it? Footmen of Amras cannot stand against that for any prolonged period of time. I guess we do have some Fierdsmen in there. Okay. Yeah, pikes are... If you have a unit of pikes, that is a huge advantage you have in any protracted melee fight. So look out there, guys, if you end up playing against the House of Fingolfin or the Philathron. They bring their pikes. Be prepared to shoot them. Or surround them. One of the two. Because you won't beat them otherwise. And yeah, that was kind of a poorly executed flank on my part. I should have pulled them back around here, and I don't remember if I do that or not. Kinda, not really though. Well, some of them are starting to wrap around a bit. The Defenders of Aglon, I think, are going to be the last ones standing. And so yeah, I'm guessing they must be a 2-hit point unit. Footmen of Amras actually liking that fight all of a sudden. Interesting. Oh, no, they're not. Yeah, once the pikes got back into position and the Blade Masters came forward, that was GG for them. Sons of Huron are now going to wrap around and smash the footmen in the back wall. They were going to, but I guess they thought better of trying to stay against the Sons of Huron. And the defenders of Aglon still standing here. They're not liking this fight, but they're not about... I guess they're shaken, but they're not gonna... They're in no danger of... Oh, now they are. Now they're wavering. I guess it's because the Sons of Huron are... Well, I guess they were too far away. Yeah, the Sons of Huron get in there with them. They're done. And that's the defenders of Aglon broken. I'm going to have to eat my words. There is a single footman of Amras still standing. So defenders of Aglon are dead. Footmen of Amras are dead. And that is the battle. Yeah, Okay, so despite the discrepancy in, despite having a pretty big lead, the number of kills was relatively similar. I just had a much larger army because, well, I decided to spam cheap spears in the Fjordsmen. I think you'd be crazy not to if you're playing as the House of Fingolfin. So let's see what did the damage here. Sons of Huron, 331, and that's been pretty typical for the games of Silmarillion that I've played. They're almost always capable of getting 300 plus kills. It's nuts. The Erimo Erentar, 187, pretty solid. Blade Masters Baird Eiffel, actually took 4 of them. I thought I could only take 3. Anyway, and I don't think I went into the red limit with them. I don't remember, honestly. Kind of a mixed bag there, but generally pretty good. Just this one unit of Blade Masters. They may have been charged by the Hunters of Helagorm or something. I don't remember. And I must have missed it. But all the others did really good work. Oh, you know what this one is? I bet this one was the one against the defenders of... oh, I've already forgotten the name. The two-handed swordmaster unit Feanor has. Apologies. My memory's terrible. Rings of Vinyamar, or sorry, the Marksmen of Baird Eiffel. Okay. Sentries of Hithlum, Pikes. You don't expect them to get a ton of kills, but they did good work. The Marines of Vinyamar. This one with 103. So that I wonder if that one wasn't the first unit that I sent chasing after the Hunters of Helagorm or not. And then Fjordsmen, they're spears, so I didn't expect them to get 9 is a little pathetic, but I wasn't expecting them to get a ton of kills. So if I see 46, that's pretty good. It's about what I expect on the high end of things. Yeah, pretty much what I expected. I think the marksmen kind of underperformed a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, 1649. That's a little weak, if I'm being honest. I wish... But, to be fair to them, though, they are shooting at Feanor, which have some pretty heavy armor and some pretty good shields on a lot of units. So, I guess it's understandable they wouldn't get as many kills as I would have liked. But anyhow, thank you guys for watching. We will have... this is going to be Rusty and I's... we've decided to temporarily forego our rotating schedule, mostly because I messed it up. And I apologize sincerely for that. But I'm back home. I'm actually at Rusty's house right now. And we will be grinding out a lot of content. We're going to try to make it... If not, it might not be one a day. It'll be kind of sporadic, just as we record things in batches. And there might be a lot of content that kind of comes out all at once over the course of the week instead of just a steady drip feed of content. But yeah, we will have a lot of content out this week, hopefully. So, all right, thank you guys. I've actually got another Silmarillion replay coming up against Commander Legolas. Thank you, Commander Legolas, for playing this with me. And we will see you guys in just a moment.